welcome back to the Spiritual Nomad YouTube and podcast. And today, talking about the importance of spiritual community once again. Throughout this quarantine, it's been really evident to me that something is happening in the lives of individual people. There is a awakening happening for the value of community, of connection, of depth of being with each other. I think we've been going far too long in our society as being solely focused on being individuals. And I think what's happening during quarantine is individuals are forced to be complete individuals in the sense that they can't see anybody. They can't really be with anybody. And where there's deprivation, I think that reveals things about us. It reveals our true intentions. It reveals our desires. We're faced with the things that we've been masking just by more activity in our life, but not maybe real being, not really connection, not real, true, transcendent living. You know, we just sit with ourselves and maybe in meditation, but then we move on to our day and we are out there trying to crush it and manipulate our life and control it in a particular trajectory. And in this quarantine, I think we've had to peel back some of the layers of ourself and acknowledge some of the needs that we have that we are band-aiding in our life. And one of those really, real deep needs, I think, is that need for community and for connection. And we are seeing that our species, our human species, is set up for a tribe. And so I think tribes can be detrimental in a lot of ways. Tribes can be, when we're so focused on our tribe and who is with us and who is not with us and focusing on wars and conquering and imperialism and all of that, I don't think tribes are good. But naturally, we as human mammals, we desire pack. We desire to be known and to be heard in a real and authentic way. And I don't think we've had great examples of that over the years in the modern world, but I think we're entering into a time, it's a renaissance of presence. And I think it started with a forced isolation meditation, if you will, through quarantine. It forced us to look at the shadow. It forced us to peel back the layers of our heart and to go deep within and see some of the things that are broken in us and painful in us. And so as we emerge from quarantine, as we begin to be released back into the wild from this, very contemplative place of a few months of being isolated or with just very few people, I think we're seeing this presence that we've found within ourselves and seeing that it has to emerge with other people. It has to find a home in a pack, a tribe, a community, a congregation of some sort. And so what I'm finding is that was stirring in me in quarantine, that desire and that need for just greater connection with other people, having a sense of trueness and authenticity and transparency. I think that's another thing too. I think quarantine has really stripped away the smokescreen of many of our lives, and we're faced with a lot of that. And so we want to enter into community in a real way, in a way that is genuine, and in a way that is healing. And healing only happens whenever we're vulnerable, whenever we're opening ourselves to other people seeing us for who we are, wholly and truly. And when we can see other people for who they are, wholly and truly, without control or manipulation, but being in that space of unconditional love. And it's really interesting. I want to tell you just a story of how that has been like manifesting in my life. And so I've had this desire to connect with more people in this way and to create community in this way. And so I had a friend reach out to me to go to a early morning meditation in Encinitas, just the town right south of where I live in San Diego. And as soon as I got there, this friend, he'd lived outside of San Diego for a couple years, and then he's back in San Diego, and we've been wanting to connect. He invited me down there. And as I was walking up, I see another friend that I've known for years, and we look at each other and we're like, this is a setup. This is crazy. And what's far out about that is that the guy that I walked up and met and didn't even know he was going to be there, I invited him to a group that I'm going to be doing. And it's just this thing. It's like there is something that is bigger than all of us that is pulling people together for the sense of purpose, for the sense of community, for the sense of I believe, a global awakening and renewal to the power and presence of our spirit and the collective spirit. And so I think that that is happening on just a very supernatural plane, and that we are walking into that. And so what I've experienced these past few days of just going in the morning and meditating, having conversations, and being with other people is just a real sense of just deep authenticity. I'm shocked by people who are willing to sit with strangers for the most part and willing to sit in that space of meditation and willing to open themselves up in vulnerability to other people. And so I think we have a renaissance of presence that's happening. We have a renaissance, we have a renewal, we have an awakening of people who are choosing to not live into their ego anymore, to not choose the flesh, that they are choosing the spirit, they're choosing the true self. And we're tired of playing the games. And we're tired of just doing the things that we're supposed to do because we think that's how our society and culture is. Even in religion and spirituality, we're tired of just playing the same old game. We want presence. And for me, being someone who is a follower of the Christ tradition, we want to be filled with that spirit. We want to be led and guided by the Father, by the great all-being that is over all, in all, and through all. We want to have that sort of relationship and experience and moving into those places. And we want to be able to be in our deepest true self with other people, experiencing the divine in a way that's truly healing and transformative. And so I just want to encourage you that you could do this work on your own, but it's important to do it with others. And I understand that it's hard to do it with other people, but there is a movement happening right now. And I'm experiencing it, and it's synchronistic. And I think if you just set your heart's intention and you would say, Spirit of God, I want to be engaged and involved with other people who are moving into greater expanses in their spirituality and in their intention in life. And I believe that God will bring people into your life that you'll be able to do this with. And so I'm believing for a revolution. I'm believing for a revolution of presence, a revolution of power, a revolution of people being authentic in their true authentic self and moving in to do great, amazing, beautiful work in the world, giving their gift, whatever their talent, whatever their ability, whatever their attraction for a particular kind of work that is promoting goodness in the world. We are moving into a place where people are being empowered and set free and liberated in their wholeness to live into that in a deep, meaningful way. And that happens in ourself, in community, and by being intentional in our livelihood, in all of our relationships. That's with strangers, that's with our spouse, that's with our kids, that's with our friends, that's with our staff and our colleagues. In this way, we're able to see this revolution come to be. And we're in it. For years, I've heard people say, oh, it's coming. There's a move of God coming, or there is a global enlightenment and awakening happening. And for years, I've heard people say, it's coming, it's coming. I was at lunch yesterday with a friend, and I began to use that language, and I said, there's something happening, there's a move of God that's happening right now. And I paused, and I felt convicted in the core of my being, and I thought, it's not coming. It's here. It's here right now. It's here sitting at this lunch table having an enlightened conversation with another person who is pursuing a spiritual path and their unique participation with the divine. It's happening right now. This is it. It's here. And now we're going to be empowered to go do whatever it is after this. And it's always going to involve people. It's always going to involve connection. Moves of the divine throughout history, throughout time. Great moves of power in the life of any spiritual teacher. In my tradition, it would be through the life of Jesus, is always when we are full and then we go out and we move in that power. And it's the presence and the power, and that is the move that's happening right now. And it always happens in community. It always does. Because it's not an isolated thing. Humanity is not an isolation. We are a commune. We are a people. We are a collective. And so I believe this renaissance that's happening is the renaissance of collective. It's the revolution of presence and power. And it's not coming anymore, friends. It's here. It's here. And I believe that you, as you move into your deep practice, revealing your shadow self, revealing the flesh, revealing the things that maybe are not the best for your divine life, and you're living into more unity with God, God will bring other people into your path. And so my hope for you is that you begin to find and open yourself up to some of the things that I've been seeing happen synchronistically, and I believe the same will happen for you. And so just want to make that encouragement today, because that is what is happening in the world. And I'm invited into it, and you're invited into it. And we're all in this thing making it happen. And so it's no surprise that it's this time right now. I mean, we're in 2020. We're seeing things clearly. And the reality is things are crumbling. We are seeing old systems, old power structures, ways of the previous self that were completely flesh. We're seeing them be destroyed before our very eyes. That's what's part of seeing clearly, is you see what's messed up. Not only you see what's good, that you see in more clarity, because you can see good and you can see with clarity, you can see the defects, you can see the faults, you can see the cracks, you can see where the thing is just a scarecrow. It's not really anything that's truly real. And so I think in 2020, we're seeing with such a clarity that we're seeing the beauty of the things that we need to walk into. We're seeing we need to stand up for racial injustice. We're seeing that we need to embody and empower a life of meaning and a life with people that is moving in a way for the common good of all humanity. And we're seeing where those structures before are failing, are bad. They need to be deconstructed. They need to be reconstructed and retooled. We're seeing all of that because our vision is clearing in 2020. And we're seeing where we need to move into, what we need to press into, and what we need to either fix or destroy. And that is what's happening. And we're all invited into that. And so I want to encourage you to take a step into that even further. Take it a step further. I don't know what that step is for you, but take it one step further into whatever the grace and favor is for you in this moment. And so I would suggest that might look like getting involved with other people. It could be a small group of other people, but get involved with other people. Reach out, send a text, just be out and about. Start walking your streets. Start taking out your headphones and listening to the conversations around. You start complimenting people. I complimented a guy on his shirt the other day, and then all of a sudden we started talking. It's all around you, and the revolution is here. And we're going to be a part of it together, because it's always going to be together. So that's my reflection. That's my reality, and I believe it can be yours too. So thank you, friends, for another episode, podcast, wherever you're getting this. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in and through my life, your life, and us as a collective. Grace and peace.